Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and we're joined here tonight in the studio by Dr. Mohamed Amer, the coordinator of the International Relations and Conferences and also member of the Presidential Leadership Program. Dr. Amer, thank you very much for joining us this evening.
Thank you so much, Mr. Hani. Thank you so much for having me over in the Egyptian television, and one doesn't get the privilege to be here every day, so thank you again.
It's our privilege. Dr. Amer, first of all, I mean, if we're talking about the youth have been a main concern and high on the agenda of the Egyptian government for many years now, since 2016 up until now. So just a quick overview on what has been happening since 2016 to 2023 now. So that's quite a few years focusing on the youth and their development, constituting over 67% of the Egyptian population. How much do you feel the government has done and the sort of efforts that have been made to really empower and enable and highlight the role of the youth in terms of building the Egyptian society for the future?
So now let's take you and our viewers in a journey back to the year of 2016, because in 2016, His Excellency President Sisi, he gave his directions to call that year the Year of Youth. And in one of the national conferences, we made the idea of turning those national conferences into international ones, because we had a lot of ideas, we have a lot of issues, and we have a lot of topics to discuss with young people. So we asked ourselves and we wondered, why not turn those topics into international ones, and why not we have a worldwide dialogue? So His Excellency President Sisi, when he got that idea, he said, why not? So he declared that year of the youth, and also he declared the initiation of the World Youth Forum. World Youth Forum is mainly a platform that focuses on discussing mainly the international topics that are related to young people and the strategies that empower young people for a better future. And by the way, before World Youth Forum, there was the birth of the World Youth Forum returns back to what we call the Presidential Leadership Program. That was the birth of every single endeavor went to young people, because in the Presidential Leadership Program, the President wanted to have, you can call it a platform or a base of a lot of qualified young people, in order to qualify them to get more into, or to inject them into the administrative system of the state of the country. So now you can see a lot of young people and after studying a lot of political sciences, social sciences, maybe security sciences as well, financial ones, and so on. So we studied a lot of sciences. So after that, after succeeding all of those modules, we try to be injected into the system itself. So now you can see a minister was a young man, a vice minister, a governor, a vice governor, and so on. And you can see that a big number and a wide and a broad distribution of young people in the parliament, in the Egyptian parliament as well. So you can see that it started in 2016, and now we have a big base and a wide base of young people who can be in the future leaders of that country, of course.
Yes. Well, Dr. Amer, you've mentioned the role of the Presidential Leadership Program, and it started off with, as you've mentioned, many conferences started off with the national youth forums, and then it was translated into the World Youth Forum, also the African Youth Forums. So it really focuses on enabling the youth and making them a big part of the policy-making process. Now, from 2016 up until 2023, you've seen a lot of the youth really being part in the political and the legislative and administrative system. How much do you feel, because the Presidential Leadership Program also focus on garnering all the sort of the well-educated, well-experienced youth from all over Egypt, from all the governorates. How much do you feel the journey has been for the PLP in specific since 2016 up until now?
Mainly, and in a simple summary, you can see that a lot of the initiatives, not all the initiatives, but a lot of the initiatives from 2016 to 2023 are made by young people who are graduates of the Presidential Leadership Program. You can see that the NTA itself, the NTA stands for the National Training or the National Training Academy. The National Training Academy got all those young people who graduated from the program to get their ideas on the ground. So you can see, for example, at the top of which is Haya Karima, or Decent Life. This is the project of the century here in Egypt, and it's already fabricated and made by young people. So the idea itself is from young people to young people, to the Egyptian people all over. And you can also see that a lot of the projects that mainly aim at empowering young people are made in the minds of young Egyptian people who are qualified, or before being qualified, who are tested to the essence of their hearts and their minds. And in the PLP program, we started a lot of sciences, as I told you before, because if you want to be qualified enough to get into an administrative job or administrative position, you need to know how to get into financial terms, how to get into social sciences, and many other stuff. So I believe the idea, as I started in 2016, we got into a real action from young people, and it was mainly supported by the president himself. So the man, he believed in how to empower those young people for the first time in our history. So as you told us, we are 60% of the Egyptian people. So this is our first time. This is it's not only 2016 that's the year of young people, this is the decade or the era of the young people, of course.
Well, I mean, you're a coordinator within the international relations and conferences as well. And we've seen, even during COP27, there's the COI, which is, it's also an adjacent sort of summit and gathering, but focused really on the youth. And these are not just summits for the sake of propaganda or just meeting and talking with no real means or ends, but we've seen that the resolutions, for instance, the model for the UN Security Council has been adopted by Egypt as its own official statement and resolution when Egypt was part of the non-permanent UN Security Council seat. So how does it feel now with the youth not just taking part or being a big part of the policy-making process here in Egypt, but also being a big part for the policy-making process of Egypt that is projected and sent to the rest of the world?
Yes, exactly. That was the main objective of the World Youth Forum, because in the past you had a lot of national conferences that focus on internal issues and internal affairs. But one day we tried to focus more into the international issues, and now we are in the middle of a lot of global crises. So we said, why not turn those solutions and ideas into the whole world? And as you told us, I'm a member of the Presidential Leadership Program, and also I'm coordinator of international relations and conferences. I'm a member of the African department. As I told you, we have an African leadership program. So you can see that it's not only the local area that we focus on. We focus on our African roots. So we are so proud of our African roots, and you can see that we turned the local and the national conferences, programs into the regional and international platforms. So you can see that you can inject those young people into international agendas, into international programs, in order to transfer the idea, transfer the journey itself, or the mechanism of thinking with young people into the African continent, into the whole world. And that was the main idea of the World Youth Forum, because in every single World Youth Forum you have a mock, it's a simulation. So the first one it focused on the Security Council, next one was the African and the Arab platform and so on. So you discuss a lot of international issues, and I do not think that we are far from the global financial crisis. Maybe in the next forum we can focus on the global financial crisis, because we are in the middle of a big one. So you can see that young people can be the core of every single solution in the future.
Yes. Dr. Amer, now, when you started in 2016 and now in 2023, that's about 8 years now. So what are the sort of challenges or the main concerns for the youth? Are they the same since 2016 up until 2023? Did things change? Did things were resolved and they're not an issue or a challenge anymore? Did new issues and challenges, you've mentioned the economic crisis, energy crisis, obviously the COVID-19 as well. But for the youth themselves, are they faced with different challenges in those 8 years now, up until since 2016 up until now? And are the Egyptian challenges for the Egyptian youth differ a lot from the rest of the international community and the youth issues?
Of course, I totally agree with that, because, but let us first discuss that we have challenges since 2016, and even maybe before 2016, but you have opportunities as well. So if you have a challenge, you will always have a challenge in our country, in a big country like Egypt. And we are amid of the whole world, because we have the challenge of COVID-19, we have the Russian-Ukrainian conflict, we have a lot of conflicts around the world, and the global financial crisis as well. But if you focused on the challenges as a challenge, you will take yourself away from the opportunity that you have in hand. Yes, you'll have a change all over the world, but you have opportunities here in Egypt. You have young people, you have young minds, you have fresh minds, and I like to use that expression as usual. Fresh minds, you can put solutions out of the box for those challenges. So as I told you, challenges, yes, there are a lot, and huge and severe challenges right now. And especially in our lifetime, but you can see that instead of challenges, we have opportunities, and so in the opposite, we have a solution by the end of the day.
Yes. Yeah. Well, how does the government really help on not just empowering but enabling the youth, giving them real hands-on solutions and hands-on sort of prospects and opportunities, as you've mentioned? Does the government work on dividing or classifying the youth in terms of age, education, gender, and giving them certain tasks or certain responsibilities according to their backgrounds? How does this process work? The government through and the initiatives through the PLP and other institutions that are focused mainly on prioritizing the youth and their role.
So the big problem of young people is unemployment. So this is number one. So what does the government do in this? The government now focuses on providing bank loans and facilitated SMEs projects for young people. So now, as a young man who just graduated from the faculty, you do not have to wait for the official or the formal employment to get the job of your dreams. So now you can go to the government, you can go to the bank, get your loan, get your initiatives. If you have ideas, if you have fresh ideas, the government have funds, have a lot of tools that can enable your idea to get into the ground, to be real action on the ground. So I believe this is step number one that already done by the government, and you can see how young people now can open a lot of projects, shops. We are good traders here in Egypt, so we have a lot of solutions in this. But step number two is enabling people socially, and this was the goal of the Haya Karima, or decent life. So if those young people got employed, they need to marry, they get good lives, or decent life, as we call it, decent life. So decent life focuses on mainly you have a good job and you have a good life as well. So I believe we have this balance done by the government itself. The government focuses on providing a good life for young people, and in the same time you have an action on the street, you have an action in the market, financially, economically, politically, and so on. So we have a balance here, but done by the government itself.
Yes. Well, when you talk about banks giving loans to the youth and really encouraging the youth to have their own startups and entrepreneurships, now, what sort of projects or what field or sector do the youth usually tend to go and start their own projects, start their own businesses? What has proved so far for the youth to be a successful sector or a successful industry for them to start their own business and really participate not just for their own good standard of living, but for the Egyptian economy as well?
So number one, and as a priority, digital transformation, technology. So His Excellency President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi gave his directions to the government to focus on turning the government into an e-government, into a smart one. So mainly, as I told you, we are injected into the system itself, so those young people can use their own technologies, the technological solutions. So if you want to get your startup, mainly most of the startups in our market, in our region as well, focus only on technology, on technological solutions. I think this is enough for our for the time right now. We need to focus on this. We have a lot of capabilities and we have a lot of solutions to put into the ground by technology. And I just was in a meeting that in my job that want to turn the paperwork into an electronic work, because we can't be lag behind in this. But after those directions, I believe we are on the way. So you can see a lot of social services that turn into electronic ones. You can get your ID card. You can get a lot of licenses, papers, documents electronically, and only a touch of a button. So I think this is very good for the right now.
Yes. Well, we've seen a lot of platforms and initiatives as well, such as the Mishwari initiative, for instance, the Shabab Balad, Youth of the Nation, which is Generation Unlimited initiative as well. How do these sort of initiatives help the youth not just to start up their own businesses, but also in terms of transferring the whole system into a digital system and helping as well with the unemployment issue, as you've mentioned?
Yeah, not to mention that we focus also on the family itself, or the system of the family. So you focus once on the young man. So what about his wife, his father, his mother, his son? So we have a program for the development of the Egyptian family itself, and mainly on the Egyptian woman. And you can see His Excellency President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi focuses on enabling the woman, or the Egyptian woman herself. So you can see we have different issues in certain corners that we did not try to solve before, but now finally and recently we try to do this. But with those programs on hand, with those programs in action, in real situations, you can see that we do not only focus on certain people, but we focus on the total or the whole Egyptian society itself. So you can see the man has his own ideas, initiatives, and the woman, even children. You can see a lot of initiatives that we have that deals with the issues with the young children or our children.
Yes. Do you feel that, I mean, with all these initiatives, it focuses on the whole of the Egyptian society, but do you feel that the whole community, the whole society makes the most of these initiatives? Are all people aware of these initiatives, these platforms, these programs? Is everybody making use and taking advantage of these opportunities?
Yeah, I believe we're just we're taking our first steps. We're in the first phase. And as I told you, for example, the health insurance, the universal health insurance program, you get only different governors here in Egypt that apply that system. So you need to be patient, some patience, please, in order to implement all of those ideas and projects and initiatives on the ground. Yeah, it takes time, it takes effort, but we already taken the first steps, but we're making progress. This is very important.
Yes.
So I believe we are on the right way.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is a job and this is a task that not just concerns the Egyptian youth, but also concerns the Egyptian government, the public and private sector. So partnership among all these entities is essential for the progress of Egypt. Let's check out this report and we'll be right back.